Hello viewers, how are you? This is Sensor Studio bringing you a journey of common sense. Let's begin the briefing on the Iran-Israel war situation as of June 22, 2025. Honestly, so many things happened on this day that I'm not sure where to start, but I'll go through them one by one. Starting from this day, the United States officially entered the Iran-Israel war. On June 22nd, the United States carried out airstrikes on Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The United States bombed the Isfahan nuclear facility with 30 Tomahawk missiles launched from a submarine about 650 kilometers away from Iran. Immediately after, they deployed B-2 bombers that had departed from the United States mainland in advance, and dropped 14 guided bomb unit 57 bunker busters on the Fordo nuclear facility, and dropped 2 on the Natanz nuclear facility. Previously, I mentioned in a video that the B-2 bombers were moving toward the Pacific. It was later revealed that these B-2 bombers were not directly participating in the operation, but were actually used as decoys. Regarding this airstrike on the nuclear facility, the United States officially entered the Iran-Israel war. The United States announced in a public statement that it had perfectly and completely eliminated Iran's nuclear facility. However, later Vice President J.D. Vance said that it didn't seem to be completely destroyed and that about 80% of it appeared to be destroyed. The International Atomic Energy Agency also stated that external radiation levels were not rising and more evidence suggested that not everything had been destroyed, 100%. There are even satellite images showing that from June 20th to 21st, Iran may have obtained this information in advance. And at the Fordo nuclear facility, some equipment and nuclear materials were loaded onto trucks and transported to another location. There are ongoing concerns that Iran's nuclear weapons development capability may not have been completely eliminated. Of course, the United States and Israel, who monitor Iran 24 hours a day, wouldn't launch an airstrike on a nuclear facility without knowing about this. There are statements from the United States, Israel, and the International Atomic Energy Agency that they were not able to completely destroy it. Separately from that, the bunker busters dropped from the B-2 bombers, and the Tomahawk missiles did hit the Iranian nuclear facilities accurately. According to the analysis of satellite images, 3 holes were created in the Fordo nuclear facility, and it was confirmed that attacks were carried out inside the facility. It is presumed that serious damage was caused. Also, as I mentioned, 2 bunker busters were dropped on the Natanz nuclear facility. First of all, even before the United States carried out airstrikes, the Israeli military had already conducted several airstrikes on Natanz. This time, the United States struck even the underground facilities. The International Atomic Energy Agency also explained that thousands of centrifuges at Natanz may have been damaged or destroyed. Also, the United States attacked the Isfahan nuclear facility using Tomahawk missiles. It would be good to look at this together with satellite images. As you can see, you can confirm that many areas have been devastated by airstrikes. Various buildings, including the centrifuges production facility and the uranium conversion plant, have been damaged. Iran has not completely eliminated its nuclear development capabilities, but it appears to have delayed them significantly. As a result, Iran seems to be protesting against these United States airstrikes and is trying to take measures to retaliate against the United States. First, the Iranian parliament approved a measure on June 22 to block the Strait of Hormuz in order to damage major oil shipping routes. If approval is given by Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, the Strait of Hormuz will be blocked. This Strait of Hormuz is a very important area. It accounts for about 20% of the world's maritime oil transportation, and especially about 35% of the oil traded by sea passes through here. So it's a very important area in international trade, and it's especially important from Korea's perspective. That's because about 70% of the crude oil imported by Korea passes through the Strait of Hormuz. On top of that, 99% of Middle Eastern crude oil comes through the Strait of Hormuz, so it's an extremely important area. But now they're trying to block that area. Some people say it's okay because we have oil reserves, but just because we have reserves doesn't mean oil prices won't go up, and it doesn't mean prices in general won't rise. Even if the Strait of Hormuz is blocked only for a short period, there's a high possibility that the Korean industry will suffer a major blow. So right now, Korea is closely watching the situation regarding any attempts to block the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, from Iran's perspective, blocking this area carries too much diplomatic risk, so it's likely to be a last resort. The moment they block the Strait of Hormuz, it would be like turning the whole world into their enemy. There's a high chance it would backfire. However, if outside intervention threatens the survival of the current regime, or if a full-scale war breaks out on Iranian soil, there's a high possibility that they would block the Strait of Hormuz. So far, the final decision to blockade still lies with the Supreme National Security Council, which is why it hasn't happened yet, but the fact that Iran has even brought up the blockade card shows how they're viewing the situation. Additionally, Iran attempted a ballistic missile attack against Israel. Iran carried out attacks using a mix of long-range liquid-fueled and solid-fueled ballistic missiles. Iran launched a total of 2 missile strikes. It is estimated that between 22 and 30 missiles were launched. During this process, at least 10 missiles hit their targets. As a result, civilian casualties are mounting. In particular, the damage has been concentrated in Haifa and Tel Aviv. Also, Iran launched 30 drones overnight, but all 30 drones failed to cause any damage and were intercepted. The Israeli military continued to carry out airstrikes against Iran, mobilizing 30 fighter jets for the operation. First, in Tabriz, northwestern Iran, they carried out an airstrike on the headquarters of the 4th Brigade of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The 31st Mechanized Division and the 4th Brigade of the IRGC are stationed there, and by attacking the 4th Brigade headquarters, they inflicted a fatal blow. They also continued to attack Iranian military assets near Yazd. First of all, the Imam Hussein Strategic Missile Headquarters is located there. They continuously launched attacks on this location, firing more than 60 missiles from here alone. In particular, the Israeli Air Force revealed that attacking this location was the longest range airstrike Israel has ever carried out. Israeli fighter jets reportedly flew about 2,200 kilometers from here to carry out the airstrike, striking from a very long distance. They also attacked an industrial complex southeast of Shahrud, which is known to produce solid fuel for long-range ballistic missiles. In addition, they attacked places like Isfahan and Bushehr, simultaneously targeting missile launchers, factories, and drone warehouses. After that, Iran did not launch any more ballistic missiles. According to a report by the New York Times, there was even news that all of Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles had been depleted. Of course, while making this video, there was news that Iran had launched missiles at Israel. We still need to verify the exact details, but since Iran's missile capabilities have been continuously declining, even if they haven't been completely depleted, it does seem true that their capabilities have significantly diminished. That concludes the briefing. Thank you.